Welcome to Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Being a fireman, father, veteran, husband, world record holder, and Ironman, he brings stories of experience to impact your life while challenging you to live it. What do you want from your life? Why do you want it? Are you willing to go through the challenges to get there? If you have the courage to take that first step, let this podcast be the catalyst to start your fire while you bring the resilience to make it continue to burn. Our lives are made up of moments called right nows. So let's get started. Forged in the Fires podcast with your host, Fireman Rob, begins now.
We got the same blood, the same blood. Stay by your side, it's ride or die. We've got the same blood.
All right, welcome back to Forged in the Fires podcast. I'm your host, Fireman Rob. Today's guest, well, she's in Belgium. So she's taken time out of her day. She is an amazing individual who, at the age of 10, she wanted to become a CEO, and now she is creating amazing retreats for individuals. I'm not going to hesitate any longer because I want to get into this conversation. Carlien Cavens, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I just came back from a horse trip. The weather is nice. So yeah, what else?
You said you got lost though. So I mean,
yeah, we got lost, but it's nice to get lost from time to time.
and it kind of goes along with your job because you help people who are lost get found.
Nice bridge. It's true. So there's this super nice quote which says, not all who are lost, not all who are searching are lost, or something like that.
Oh, that's I think I've heard that one before. It's so true though.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
True.
Exactly.
So now tell me, because I read that when you were 10 years old, you wanted to become a CEO, and not just any CEO, but of a Fortune 500 company. That's pretty specific for a 10-year-old.
Terrible, isn't it? Terrible.
Now, where did that come from?
I know where it comes from because at that time we had this television show which was about become the next, it was called Become the Next Top Manager. And so it was all a show to guide people towards becoming CEOs. And as a 10-year-old, I was watching it and I thought that must be cool. Everyone looks at you like you know everything, you earn a lot of money. It's kind of the pinnacle of success in today's society. So that's what I thought I wanted. That's
crazy. Yeah, and then and life goes on, and you kind of get to your 30s, and I want to talk about this because this was kind of your pivotal point. Like, you know, this was that point when you're on that horse in the middle of a forest and going, well, now where do I want to go?
Exactly.
Tell me more about that time, you know, in your 30s where you kind of turned the corner and started to go down that path of what you wanted to do.
Yes, so it was actually right before I was turning 30. So
see, you're way ahead of the curve.
Yes, it's what they call the quarter life crisis. So I had a pretty big one.
Oh wow!
And at that time, I was working as a consultant at McKinsey. And I was nicely on my way to become a CEO because they sometimes call it a CEO,
like the
CEO factory. Yeah.
Oh,
CEO
okay.
factory.
Yep. Gotcha.
And so I was nicely on my way, and actually that's where the machine started breaking down because I just came back from a project in South Africa, which I was doing, and it was absolutely awful. It was a lot of stress, a lot of politics, and it was really, really, really hard. And at that time, I had a boyfriend, but because of the distance, I think in total I was 5 months there.
Yeah.
Also, that relationship started going from bad to worse, and Yeah.
That's never good.
And so everything was falling apart. And then I think a month before I turned 30, which was right before the summer holidays,
Okay.
my boyfriend told me, like, yeah, this is it. I'm gonna leave you.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was really, really hard. I think everyone should experience that in their life because it brings many lessons. But at that time, it was freaking hard.
Yeah.
And then on top, I really started doubting everything I was doing with my job because I just realized it's very fancy. I get to fly business all over the world, but I simply don't enjoy it. It gives me a lot of stress. I don't feel I'm really contributing. I'm not in my strengths.
Right.
And so apart from the relationship, also the job, I started wondering whether that was the way to go. And then the good thing was I already had 2 months unpaid leave planned because I kind of felt it was time for a bigger break, which I was supposed to do with my boyfriend, but then the plan didn't go through.
It changed. It just
changed. It changed. And then I thought by myself, well, let's just take those 2 months and let's take them to think about your life, Carlien. So I did a lot of cool things in those 2 months. I threw a huge birthday party to start with. I climbed Mont Blanc, which is the highest mountain in Europe.
Wow.
I went to the Olympics in Brazil, where I met amazing people. Yes. And slowly but surely, I realized I lost the connection with myself and I was finding it again. So I was again connecting to what I call my life force because I was really far away. And I didn't realize until I found it back. And then in those 2 months, I thought a lot about, what do you really enjoy? Yeah. And for me, the conclusion was that saving companies didn't excite me so much. Yeah. But kind of understanding what makes people happy in their life and successful in what they do, but in a more sustainable way. That was something that I was really interested in, because how come that some people, they struggle all the time, and how come other people, they do the same things and somehow they manage to be more happy in it. Right. So that was a bit what I enjoyed more. And then during all my jobs, the things that I really enjoyed was organizing the team buildings, bringing people together, like literally everything except for my job. Yeah.
So you found the blueprint for not what you like, and then you created the blueprint for what you love.
Yeah, but it was not easy because there's a lot of beliefs that you have. For instance, I'm a commercial engineer by education. And so for a long time I thought, but I cannot just start doing different things from what I studied. I studied 5 years. I have to do something with this diploma. And then slowly but surely I started thinking, no, you don't have to do anything. You don't.
But you kind of are a business engineer if you think about it.
Yeah.
You're a life engineer.
Yes, exactly. That's how I like to say it. Now I transformed from a business engineer to a people engineer. I love to understand people and how they function and what makes it difficult to be a human being these days. And yeah, that's really my true passion. And so then, I took these 2 months off. I really appreciated the clarity it brought me. And then I thought everyone should do this in their heading. And that's what I started doing.
That's amazing. I love the fact, you said success in a sustainable way. And, you also talk about the slowing down to find the clarity.
Absolutely.
How do you find that in yourself? Because you were on a path for success from what you thought.
Exactly.
But it wasn't sustainable, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
I think for me, the answer is that we have to get away from what society prescribes as success, because I think that's where the issue starts.
Right.
Society has a very clear view on what success is supposed to be, and that is basically scoring a well-paid
goal.
job. Yeah, exactly. Scoring a well-paid job,
Yeah.
a good job, having a nice husband, wife, starting a family, building a house, the bigger the better, having a nice car, and all those type of things.
Right.
But actually, I think that's where the mistake starts, because whoever told you that that's what was gonna make you happy? And slowly but surely, I started believing like, maybe success is a very individual thing, and maybe I should rewrite it for my own. And there's a very nice quote by, I think it's Jim Carrey,
Mm-hmm.
who says we all should get rich and famous to understand that that's not what it's all about. And I'm not saying I got rich and famous, not at all.
Yeah.
But I praise myself lucky to have seen this coming, a way of getting ahead of being rich and famous. So
That's amazing. And that's a hard thing to say, because a lot of people are like, well, what do you mean? I want that. But it's so
until they are there, and then they feel this void of, oh my God. It's almost like
somebody else's dream.
yeah. And reaching those goals, I think a lot of people, they have many goals, and there's nothing wrong with goals in life.
Yeah.
The only thing is that if those goals are too far away, and you believe that only when you reach the goal you will be happy, yeah, you can compare it with a drug addict, because basically what will happen is, once you reach the goal, you will have at best a few days of excitement and happiness, and then you're back to your basic happiness level. So reaching goals is good to kind of move on in life, but it will never make you substantially happier. At least that's not what I believe. Happiness is more a state of mind, a state of being, than the consequence of reaching goals.
That's so true. I love that. Now, one of your big things, and I see this in your stories, like you were telling me, like you live to tell stories or experience those stories. How much does that play into finding that clarity and finding like the true you of building that plethora of stories and experiences behind who you are?
Yeah, I truly believe that we all are part of our own book called life, and it's an art to understand what would be the title of your book. I think many people, they never get to find the title of their book, but it's one of the exercises I sometimes do with clients, is I make them reflect on their past, and then I ask them the question, like, imagine this was a book, what would be the title of the book so far? What has your life been about so far?
Right.
And it's very interesting, because when you reflect on it properly, there are like recurring themes that come back. And for me, the biggest blessing in life is if you got to understand what is your biggest contribution in this life. What's your biggest quality? What are you here to do in this life? And I think it can be a lifelong kind of journey to make that crisp and clear. But I think it's the only way to have a fulfilling life.
That's so true. So true. And I love that. And you've really kind of bridged the gap of everything. I mean, Belgium's 40 under 40. What did that mean to you when you got to be on that? Because that's a huge accomplishment and a huge honor. What did that mean for you?
I was especially interested by the purpose of this organization. So what
Yeah.
they try to do is there are a bunch of top Belgian business people,
Yeah.
and they are a bit worried about the future of the country. And so they started this non-political organization they called Belgians 40 under 40,
Love that.
where they gather 40 people of very, very different backgrounds, which have kind of proven track record of societal engagement.
Yep.
And what they do with this group is they try to be a non-political influencing group for very important societal problems like sustainability, well-being. What else do you have? Education, those type of things. And so when I
Right.
got in there, it's like everything I get in, I always, when I'm applying, I think like, okay, it's never gonna work. And then somehow, I think I'm a good storyteller, so I think
Yeah.
I managed to convince people with my story and with my view on things. So yeah, it was really nice. So it's a yearly thing. So every year
cool.
a new group gets selected.
Oh, wow.
And it was really very fulfilling experience. I got to meet 39 really inspiring people with very different backgrounds, with whom I could really reflect on important topics. Yeah, it was really a super nice experience.
I love the influence that you have. And in one of your stories, I'm not even sure how you influenced this individual, but you made global news because you had a famous cyclist write your name on their chest. That's influence on a whole nother level.
Yeah, it was a bit unexpected. I don't think I did it on. I influenced anything, but it was a funny day. I was not saying world famous, but I was European famous for a week. And then luckily it faded away, but it
Luckily,
was.
if you haven't tried. I mean, there's tons of cyclists out there now. You have the opportunity.
Yeah, indeed. But it was a funny story. I remember very clearly the day I came out of a meeting,
Yeah.
and something must have happened because my phone, I got so many WhatsApp messages, so many missed phone calls. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And then I tried to understand, and then a few seconds later, again, unknown number that tries to call me, and I pick up, and it was one of the many journalists that tried to call me that day, of one of the leading newspapers, and she called me and she said, "Yeah, you probably know why I'm calling you." I said, "I have no idea." She said, "Can I send you a video and then call you back for some comments?" Sure. So she sent me the video, and then, oh my God, my jaw dropped when I saw my name on his chest. I'm like, oh my God, what did he do?
Oh, that's awesome.
But it was, as I said, I love good stories, and it's definitely one of those good stories in my life.
I love it. And, you know, it kind of leads perfectly into how you've created this amazing Unplug 48. You can go to unplug48.com. And it's a place where you design, host, and facilitate these retreats for CEOs, founders, and executives, really to blueprint their future. Tell me more about the premise of how you came about designing that.
Yes. So as I explained, I had a very early midlife crisis when I turned 30.
Yeah.
And then I took 2 months off to kind of find myself and understand what I really wanted to do in life. And for me, that was one of the most profound experiences I've had so far. It was a long one, but and it was so profound that I thought everyone should experience this in their life at least once. And then, of course, I used to be, at that time, I was still a strategy consultant. I was working a lot with CEOs, and by working closely with them, I also understood that they are just humans and they also struggle like we all do.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to the idea, like, why don't I design retreats specifically for them, which can help them to, in the first place, slow down and find clarity about where they want to go with their lives. Because I think that's one of my what puts me apart from many other retreats is that very often retreats they tend to be targeted on people who are already a bit in this mindset of slowing down and meditation and yoga. But usually my target audience, they're very far away from those things. So I think what sets me apart is I understand them, I speak their language, and I get to make them experience something very unique in a way which feels safe and tailored to them.
Okay.
And so that's how I got the idea, and then I thought it's a bit, you can compare it a bit like, for me, being a CEO or an entrepreneur, you can compare it like being a professional athlete. So it's very intense. The only difference in sports is that in sports, athletes, they understand very well that to perform, it's very important to recover from time to time and to rest.
Yes.
And somehow in business, people don't understand that very well. So
very well or not at all?
Not at all. And actually, the retreats, you can compare it to the maintenance of a sports car, or like
that makes sense.
Let's make it even more clear, to compare it to the pit stop in Formula One. So in Formula One, there's no way you can win the race if you never do a proper pit stop. And that's a bit what I offer. My retreats are not so long. They're just 3 or 4 days. But in 3 or 4 days, you kind of get a lot of clarity on yourself, on the way ahead. How to proceed. I think that's a very important question. How to proceed, being successful, being ambitious, but in a more sustainable way. I think that's where it's all about.
It's such a powerful message of finding success and finding that sustainable way of finding success. What does it look like for you to continue this? What does it look like as you evolve as a person and find more stories? What does it look like for you in the future as far as success?
Yeah, for me personally,
yeah,
it's always very simple. For me, I feel I'm successful if I am doing things that give me energy, which I am good at and which the world needs, which is basically the famous ikigai.
Yeah.
So as long as I can do these things, I'm very happy. And it may evolve over time. It already evolved a lot over time because, of course, I think at least once in a year, I try to do something like a retreat. So I also evolve. I also learn new things. And with everything I learn, I try to incorporate that in the retreats to make them as valuable as possible for the people who join.
I love that.
So yeah, super. And I have no idea what the future will bring. I'm not a person who has many big goals in life. I think there's a few. I love to start a community with all the people. I'm already building on that as we speak. A community with all the people who have followed the retreats. I am probably gonna do more public speaking as well because I love that. And yeah, besides the retreats, that's probably the things I'm gonna focus more on in the coming years.
I love that. I love that. Well, make sure you go to unplug48.com. It has been such an honor to have you on. I always end the podcast the same way with 3 questions. Are you ready?
I am.
All right.
I am.
That was a little delay. You're nervous.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, all right. So here's the first question.
Delay on the answer. Yes.
All right. So the first question is if you could go back to your 18-year-old self and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
Follow your heart, definitely.
Oh, that's a great one. All right. The second one, everybody has challenges and struggles in life. If you could give them 2 habits to incorporate into their daily life to continue to push and move forward, what would those 2 things be?
Slow down from time to time, even on a daily level. Spend every day with some moments of reflection. And then the other for struggle, get to. I have so many advices. For me, morning yoga works very well. I do every morning. I do Ashtanga yoga at 6:30 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And that kind of has a huge positive impact on my life.
That starts your day right.
Yeah.
All right. This last one will be fun. So if you could have coffee at a firehouse table. So on a firehouse table, you can ask any question. Any question has to be answered. It's kind of an open market with 3 people. They can be deceased or alive. Who would those 3 people be?
Whoa. I think one would definitely be Arianna Huffington.
Okay.
She's a writer of a lot of books, and she has inspired me hugely to change my life for the better. Another is probably a classic, would be Barack Obama. I think
okay, there you go.
And then a third one, maybe Oprah. Yes, classic. I'm sorry.
No, that's a good table right there. That's a very, very good table. I love it.
I'm sure many people will be very jealous of that table.
Yes, they would be jealous of the table. They'd want to have coffee with you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you many more good horse rides and make sure that you stay on the paths. And but definitely thank you so much for joining me today.
And thank you very much for hosting this amazing podcast. It was a pleasure joining today.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast, and please share this episode with a friend or family. To find out more about Fireman Rob or reach out about a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.